Welcome to the Blooming League of Original Podcasts.
G'day and welcome to our little Aussie Battler edition of Thrash and Treasure, the Torture Chamber musical comedy podcast that loves the sunburnt country, especially when we get to give each other sunburnt slappers. And speaking of slappers, I'm Aaron, and I'm joined as usual by the latest judge, jury, and executioner appointed to our Torture Chamber as the new captain of Team Metal, all the way from New Mexico. It's Dave the New Kid. Welcome to the show.
Hello, happy to be here.
Yes, you're a brand new rotating co-host, and you're not in New York or on the eastern coast of America, so it's...
Yeah, I'm out here in New Mexico right now.
You're out in the middle of the desert. That's the thing. Also, Matt's no longer with the show, so we do need somebody who is in the middle of the desert as a replacement to represent.
I'm in a nice little town called Las Cruces, about an hour from the Mexico border.
Yeah.
It's a good town. I like it here. Although I'm originally from Tennessee, which is why I have the funny accent coming out sometimes.
That also, and you're just American. And also, you don't just sit in the desert, do you? You're in a play at the moment.
I am, yeah. It'll be a fun little show coming the first 3 weekends of October, Beyond Therapy. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm playing a supporting role that really packs a punch, so pretty excited about it.
So basically, you should be at the theater right now.
No, we're off tonight.
Oh, you're off tonight, are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, whenever people are listening to this, he's off right now. And not at the theater. So you're doing Beyond Therapy. Who was that written by again? Christopher Durang?
Yeah, that is correct. It's going to be my third real full production with our local community theater here. I've done Rossum's Universal Robots and I had a small role in School of Rock, and now I get to do this really fun comedy.
That's why I invited you to join us, because apparently I have a thing for working with people who have been in School of Rock. You are the third.
I played Mooneyham's dad, and I played a couple other small roles that required wigs. So it was a lot of being barely in the play and being very, very in the play. A lot of rushing around with Velcro outfits and wigs.
Yep. And it was what I find interesting is after our hiatus, we came back with Richard Darborn. Then we had Richard Maltby and David Shire. And now in this episode, the third one in succession, we're introducing a David. So we go Richard, Richard, David, David. I don't know how it ended up like that, but...
As the old song says, I'm one of the Daves you know, you know.
You are indeed. Now, okay, I just want to apologize in advance to our listeners for this episode, because as Dave can verify, when this was recorded a few weeks ago, over a month ago, I had a terrible bout of hay fever.
Oh, you were barely hanging in there, bud.
It was awful. We had a rehearsal the day before, and I just sat here for like 5 minutes covering my eyes because they were stinging and would not stop running, and my nose was running. I didn't have a cough or anything, but I knew that like I had to clear this up the best I could because I had 2 recordings in 2 days in succession with Richard Darborn and with today's guest. So I'm so sorry if I sound like I'm high on medication. I was incredibly high on medication, so I wasn't at my best. I'm so sorry, David. It was your first recording.
You did wonderfully.
I know as soon as I hit record or as soon as the guest comes into the room, there's that switch, you know, and every now and then it will come back.
Put together, and you did great work.
It will. I was barely hanging on that whole time, but it's cleared up now, thankfully.
I had to go to the allergist yesterday and get that the pinpricks on the back.
Okay.
And measure that. It was not fun. Turns out I might be allergic to my dog.
Oh no. Oh, puppy.
I'll suffer because I love that guy.
We should all suffer for our puppies and our kitty cats. Yes, so we've asked you to join the show because we do also need a proper team metal representation, and you don't know much about musicals, do you?
No, done stage plays, but School of Rock's the only musical I've been in.
Yep, that's awesome. That's really, really cool that a lot of the really well-known musicals you have not marked off as knowing. So it means that we can actually do them on the show, and we love that here.
I'm much more knowledgeable about metal.
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah.
Our listeners will let us know.
Sure. Knowledgeable in that I was listening to Rob Zombie and Pantera when I was 8 years old. So
yeah,
I've always loved metal, and I was in a few terrible bands as a teenager. So this is a fun opportunity.
Awesome. Anyways, guess what?
What?
We're lucky to have another Aussie rising superstar diva hanging out back tonight. And after 2 years in the room where it happens, I'm not throwing away my shot to ham it up because this Australasian queen has been simmering since the 2010s, so she couldn't let it be when the color of darkness lit her on on the scene. In the throes of our race wars, casting Hindi woes as a journo, she got to air race-ish as Mama Maria Krish, along with Darren Hinch. Whoa! But before I make myself look like an American idiot, because that's what co-hosts are for, let's chuck on the footy, grab a coldie out of our dusty eskies, and down our stubby with a good snag, because this Bunnings sausage sizzle is a bloody ripper, and we're sizzling having snagged ourselves a bloody ripper of a guest. Beauty nuke. And if my co-host understood any of that, well, struth Elsa. Anyway, where was I? All right, American Idiot. Have you been paying attention? Good, because this actor, singer, writer, muso, and composer lyricist drives us toward a new day, and don't that make us a pair of lucky car passengers with this driven leader at the wheel? Once on this island, merrily we roll along, twice, then up to the greatest city in the world for the Dubbo Championship Wrestling on Sunday in the park with George Bloom. Then after a quick stop in the Thitawara country, we're making our way to Byron Bay because we don't have to worry about theatre with this talent on the rise. And she can do everything Hugh Jackman can do, but backwards and in heels. So while I'm pumped, let's shoehorn a local Aussie g'day along with a Shantae Yu namaste to this exciting talent who is 6 times the queen Hugh Jackman wishes he was. So before I make an enemy of Wolverine, let's throw our claws in the air and push Romeo off the balcony because we're joined by the extraordinary Vidya Makan. Welcome to the Torture Chamber. How's it going? I fumbled that.
Thank you. Oh my goodness.
I fumbled that.
Standing ovation for that intro. I'm going to need a copy of that to put onto every show I ever do.
Awesome. And I will be checking that. I will be checking every bio.
I'm amazed every episode I hear him do it.
Wow.
What you hear is the edited version. Because I will stumble and spit and splutter my way all the way through it. James Monroe Eichelhart, who did Genie on Broadway as well as Hamilton, I had to do the same thing that I just did with you and stop and catch my breath. Because I just could not get through it. But it was only literally at 2:30 a.m. I decided I'm going to write a rap, aren't I?
I love it. When inspiration hits.
That's the attitude I want.
Well, when focus came back more so. So anyways, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much. I'm doing really well. Thanks.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you on because actually it's a few years ago, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, a past guest of ours from the West End, Irvine Iqbal, sent me a video of you performing. So I followed you then and I've been keeping my eye on you. And so when Mary said, would we like to interview? I said, yes, please. I have to do those introductions, remember, and I have to want to do those introductions.
Totally.
So a lot of people, I'm like, I can't hear that yet. Can we come to it in the future? So it is a matter of timing.
Totally. I'm interested to know what the video Irvine sent was.
Oh, I can't remember. It was a few years ago, and I've had a lot of conversations with people since then.
Yeah, fair enough. That's very cool.
So it might have been when you were doing Hamilton.
Well, Hamilton was just recently for me. I was wondering if it was an old video of me performing.
Oh, look, I don't know. It was years ago. 2, 3, 4 years ago, and I am like on medication from hay fever.
All good.
No, so I was really, really excited to have you on today. And you have had a quite exciting past few years, which has been very flat chat, which for Dave and our American listeners means very busy. But you have the Lucky Country opening in Melbourne and Brisbane soon. So have you been taking the time to nap?
No, I myself am needing one. So yeah.
Especially in this industry.
I'm so excited for this season and all the prep is absolutely amazing. But there is a part of me that's very excited for October 27th, where I'm just going to lie flat and let it all wash over me.
Yep. That's it. That's what I sometimes think when I know I've got a run of episodes and it will be like UK, America, Australia, maybe Canada in 1 week. And it's like, but I'm looking forward to my nap.
Totally. And both can be true.
You guys get to nap? Wow.
Yeah. You have children. Yeah.
I have 7-year-old twins. I'm lucky if we get a moment of quiet.
Fair.
Right now they're in the next room and I'm just like, everything okay? The problem is if it gets too quiet. That's when.
But anyways, Dave, you're up. Your very first question on the Torture Chamber.
Excellent. So you've spent a bit of time in Hamilton in the past few years. As an Australian, what was the experience like to tell this very American story on your home soil, especially given it is told so diversely in such a divisive time?
That's such a good question. For me, it was really about making it my own and making Eliza my own. I think the casting of our production, which was like the Sydney season that we did, was really wonderful. Like, especially with the First Nations actors on stage, it gives the story a slightly different meaning, because the show, I think, overseas really speaks to immigrants. Whereas here in Australia, a big conversation for us is not just like our immigrant population, which are often people of colour, but for the First Nations narrative of this place. And that's something I talk about a lot in the Lucky Country as well, which we'll get to. So I feel really blessed to have been able to be a part of a cast with such amazing First Nations representation. So when you have a First Nations black man out there as George Washington singing about his dream for a nation, is something that is loaded in many different layers. And that wasn't lost, I think, on a lot of people. For me, playing Eliza, a big part of me was actually about taking her story. And a conversation I had with the directors and the team from the US from the beginning was like, the show is called Hamilton. It's not called Alexander Hamilton, it's called Hamilton. So whose story actually is it? So for me, it was like, okay, I'm going to play this as like, this is Eliza's story. And for me, it was really important that on the page, Hamilton gets to be all these different things. He gets to be messy. He gets to be a genius. He gets to be sexy. He gets to be flawed and the hero. Whereas Eliza on the page can read as like the savior kind of woman. And yet she was actually so much more than that. She actually helped him write a lot of his papers. She was the one who edited the Washington address with him for hours at a time. So there's all of that. And she was also feisty and incredible. So I wanted to give her the opportunity to be just as messy as Hamilton. So like going into our season, our team was open to some of my choices with playing Eliza in that way, which was really cool.
It's good you brought up the First Nations, because something I've brought up on this show, I don't know if you noticed that our logo is actually a certain 3 colors. And that was deliberately
cool.
because something that has bugged me for many, many years, and I've seen a lot of theatre and I can't afford to see everything, and I certainly couldn't afford to see Hamilton. Plus tickets were mostly sold out.
I saw it on Disney Plus.
Well, yeah, I saw it on Disney Plus. I've never sat in one of the main theatres in Melbourne and watched a large-scale Australian tour where an Indigenous actor was in the lead role.
Absolutely.
Missed Sister Act because Casey seems to be the first, and it's so disappointing because we choose to import people of colour to tell stories.
Well, this is the thing. This is my whole thing. And this goes to why I wrote The Lucky Country. I have been a musical theatre nerd for my entire life. And it's a place that confuses me because it is the genre of the underdog, right?
Yep.
The literal form of musical theatre is you get an opening number where you set up a place. Like, this is traditional musical theatre. Then you get the first like solo song is the I Want song of someone who has a dream, who can't quite get there. Like any classical musical is that. And then they have to go on this hero's journey and then find themselves at the end. But it is always the tale of the misfit, the underdog.
Yep.
And it makes me so confused as to, especially here in Australia, like why musical theatre is such a white art form, why it's such a generic art form. Often we tell stories of like bohemian artist stories, but in this commercial setting. And it's not to say that we can't be commercial. It's just like we don't dare to dream in the way that like the inception of these shows happened.
Yep.
Something like South Pacific was so revolutionary. There's a lyric, you've got to be taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught to hate and fear. Like that is a revolutionary lyric. And Aaron, it's exactly why I wanted to write The Lucky Country. I was going and watching musicals and I was just frustrated as well because I'm like, not only is the representation just like way off when I walk around, like that's not the place that I see when I walk around in my world as an Aussie. And I live in the city and I also live in the suburbs, and you know, I have a fairly, I wouldn't say normal upbringing, but there's a majority of people who have a similar to experience to me. And so that makes me really sad, but I get frustrated too because of the humor. Like POCs and like First Nations people, of which I am not, but like these minority voices, which we call other, we don't have to be the butt of the jokes all the time. Like we can be funny, we can claim our power. And that's actually something that like is a gift. I think a lot of people who might not be attuned to the conversation might, when people try and talk about diversity and representation, they feel a bit like us and them. But I think that's the conceit of it. Like I think the point of it, and actually the power in it, is that it makes everyone better. I said this in an acceptance speech a few weeks ago where I won an award for playing Eliza, and I said, like, Hamilton is a daring musical and it did the impossible, what seemed impossible, and it's pretty much one of the most commercially successful shows in the entire world. Like, imagine if we had that mindset of putting on the Hamiltons so much more often. Imagine where not only our industry would be, but I really believe in art and I believe the power of it. And I just think we could be in such an amazing place. So that is why I wrote The Lucky Country.
Yep. Plain and simply, the common Australian, whatever nationality they are, white, Asian, or whatnot, would be able to name more than just Ernie Dingo and Deborah Mailman, because they're the two biggest names and they're the people that we know. But we haven't given our First Nations people these avenues to be able to shine. And quite frankly, I've sat there, I've watched The Lion King, I've watched Hairspray, I've watched Sweet Charity, I've watched Rent, and the Book of Mormon as well. I've always seen Maoris, I've seen Islanders, I've seen Torres Strait Islanders and Fijian as well. Africans or African American. Never have I seen in the leading role an Indigenous Australian.
What's crazy is that, like, especially our First Nations performers, they've been around for so long. Like Diagula, who used to be known as Mindy Quanton, she played our, like, mother country character in our show. She's been doing musicals for yonks for, like, 20 plus years. She was in the original cast of Priscilla. You have people like Ursula Jovich and Elaine Crombie.
What we need to do, or what the industry needs to do to change that, because
I think we just need to listen, right? Like, because also, like, we sit on the lands of the oldest surviving culture in the world, the oldest culture of storytelling. The people who do this the best, like, are our First Nations people. What a gift, what a gift to be able to, like, get to be a part of that. Yep. And I feel like it's an attitude of, like, we are lucky, and it's something we play with in our show. We are lucky to get to be here. That's what makes us the lucky country. Yep. It's not just Vegemite and oil and laid back attitude and beaches. We get to be a part of something that nowhere else in the world, like, we are so lucky to get to be a part. We get to go to places and get welcomed to those countries and those lands. That is, how grateful should we be? Because it's not something that, is getting taken away from us. It's actually something that offers us something. And I think that when the narrative, hopefully, I hope one day shifts to, like, the gratitude of that and how much of a gift it is to get to be involved in the generosity of our First Nations people.
Be welcome to country. Be welcome to country, like a simple gesture. Simple, tiny 5-minute gesture at the start of a sporting match or whatever, and it's a problem to people.
Yeah, it's like, here's a gift. Oh, no, I don't want that gift. No, don't give me that gift. It's crazy.
I know, exactly. It's an olive branch.
It's crazy.
It's a fucking olive branch. People, calm down. And the reason why we're in this mess is because you keep having that stupid, dumbass attitude. Anyway, speaking of, I won't say stupid and dumbass. I'll say also that oldest music culture as well, because they've been playing music for 5,000 plus years.
60,000.
Or 60. Well, I'm pumped up on medication.
That would really resonate with. I live in New Mexico, and I have lived near indigenous lands, and
exactly, yeah.
Like my wife, for instance, she worked with the Native Pueblo Council, who are in many ways still trying to reclaim a lot of their culture. And it's really important to see that kind of representation in our media.
I know that there are some amazing creatives who have some amazing ideas, so I would definitely keep your eye out. And if you see funding, send it their way, because we have some amazing artists. But it's so interesting, David, because I think, like, the themes that we're talking about, and specifically the themes in our show, they are universal. Like, the specificity of something makes something so universal. I think the specificity of Hamilton, it's the same kind of thing. Like, Hamilton is so specifically American, but it's not about America. It's actually about the human behind this dream, right? And as much as that can be, like, it's the founding fathers of America, I think the reason that also a lot of people relate it to it is it's about a man who had a dream of this utopic kind of society and how they put it together. And it was the story of people who are not from here. I think that translates everywhere in the world. And in our show, we start by basically setting up the lucky country that we all know. But the first thing we do is we meet a First Nations boy from Titarwara country. And he sees that Baker Boy, his favorite rap hip hop artist, has just been awarded Young Australian of the Year. So he's like, whoa, I never kind of fit into this narrative, but if someone like Baker Boy can be that, there's space for me. And this young boy then goes to his classroom, and that's when we set up the lucky country, and all his classmates are saying, it's Vegemite, it's the beach, it's Captain Cook, and you start to see him shut down. But then what we do is we actually leave that, and we layer all these different wild, wacky, quirky, funny, ridiculous, like some of the songs are ridiculous, which I'll get to in a second as well, because we actually have a cast album out, and you'll be able to hear them.
Yes, that we reviewed it.
Oh, amazing. So you get it.
I'm going to review it in front of you.
Amazing. Okay.
Your first musical on an international podcast that's had Lonnie Price and Margaret
Ooh.
Cho, and we're going to sit here and we're going to review it in front of you.
Wow, I'm very excited.
I've got it on this playlist.
Before we do that, can we move it on and do the metal first?
Oh,
And then we'll come back to that because I actually have a few, not only a written review for the Lucky Country, but a few notes and stuff like that about it.
Cool.
Because Dave, this is his first time, so I'm not going to make him review the musical in front of you because that'll be too intimidating for him. So he can review the metal album this week.
I've only dipped my toe in musicals recently. I had a bit part in School of Rock, and that's the most musical I've done.
Awesome. It's a great show.
It was so fun.
Have you had much experience with metal, heavy metal, glam metal, thrash metal, industrial metal, death metal?
I have not.
No? Wow, your game.
I have
You
not.
said yes to this show.
I did.
Yep. I love that though. I really do. I love that when people will come on just out of curiosity. Just out of curiosity of what is this genre that they've avoided for years and years and years. And
Totally.
Tony Sheldon, we gave him a band called Mr. Bungle and he actually loved it. So it's like we're changing lives here. No,
Well, I can relate, but I guess we'll get to that.
yes.
If you could pick your ultimate most over-the-top rock star writer, what would you put in it?
Opulence.
Rockstar writer, right? Like, so it can't be something like normal.
The most opulent.
Like Aussie always having a kind of brown M&Ms.
You know, I love like a spa or a sauna.
Yes.
So I get that I have to have a nice spa or sauna or both in my dressing room, I reckon.
Yes.
Why not both? Yeah.
And then the Puerto Rican masseuse.
Yeah, I'll take any masseuse.
Well, yes. Anyways, segue into the metal album. Right. So, well, this week I went looking for a metal album or a band that had the word unlucky in it to juxtapose against the musical. So I went looking, and then I found a Japanese band called Unlucky Morpheus, which was a great throwback to a couple of past guests, Kei Tuckerman and Steve Bastoni, who were in the Matrix movies. And then I realized with our lovely PR collaborator, Mary, traveling to Japan, and it also being 10 years since I went to Japan, which is a useless fact, it made it a perfect album to choose. Or was it? So Dave, your first ever review. No pressure.
Excellent. I'll be the first to admit that while I'm a pretty big fan of power metal, this particular brand is new to me, which my research has said makes this a good album for discovering this band. I'm reminded of the cartoons I used to watch on Toonami and Saturday Night Adult Swim, so like these animes from the 2000s that I was like super into. It's sweeping or orchestral, like the opening of an epic story, you know, which is something I always really like about power metal. The guitar work is amazing, especially the bass. The bass is really good. My personal favorite track is, and I will probably mispronounce this, is Kiabo no Koibito. It has outstanding vocals, which I understand are in a style that majorly shifts from their previous albums from what I've read, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. My only real criticism of this album, which again I really like, is that the album is on the shorter side. It's practically an EP. It's so short. I'd like to hear more. I'd love a few more tracks on here. The album, again, just really short, leaving me wanting more in a good way, because I really liked this album.
I'm obsessed. Like, it's sick. And I wonder if this has been said before. I'm sure it has. But metal is very similar to musical theatre.
Yes.
It's very similar.
Yes.
It's not afraid to be dramatic. It's saying the thing. I couldn't understand what they were saying, but it was like, these voices also need to be in musical theatre. I'm obsessed.
They're a Japanese group.
Yes.
And a female singer at that, and she wails.
Incredible voice.
Belts for the gods.
Yeah, but then you got this like growl through it as well, like a real devilish sound.
Totally.
Which is how I used to sing.
Are there any metal musicals? I reckon that would like go off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sarah Brightman was in it.
Wow.
And Anthony Stewart Head from Buffy. And who else was in it? Paris Hilton was in it, playing an opera singer, and her face fell off, and it's wonderful.
Oh, God, I love that musical so much.
What's it called?
Repo the Genetic Opera.
So cool.
So hard to get, so hard to find.
And the songs are such earworms.
They are.
Repo the Genetic Opera.
At the opera tonight. Like, it's so full on. And that's what this album very much, I think, lives in that space, because it's very hard, but it's still so soft at the same time, because it has got that female voice, but she's not angry like a lot of metal singers are. It's the genre.
Well, it's power metal. Power metal's a lot like that. It's always very orchestral and sweeping. I liken it to riding a dragon. In fact, I have a playlist for it just called Quest with Dragons, and it's all metal like that.
See, I liken it to riding a drag queen. That's terrible.
Fair enough.
Every single drag queen will know what I'm talking about. Anyways, some of the lyrics were hated shadows around the universe. The ringleader is holy nightmare. Brave pureness is still dubious. The fate says we must be warriors. Yeah, like that's all the English lyrics I could find.
Wow.
So who knows if they're correct because it's Spotify and they tend to be wrong a lot of the times. I don't know if it's an AI or if it's people doing it, but
I do love metal and have since I was a kid, and I developed a love for this genre of metal, power metal, when I was a teenager. Oh yeah, it's I mean, it goes back to like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, those kind of bands from the 80s.
that's Bruce Dickinson. And who's the other one?
Rob Halford.
Oh, Rob Halford, that's right. I was looking for a Rob Halford Funko Pop the other day. Shout out to Drew. Yeah. Would you seek out more of this band, Vidya? I'm so worried about saying your name wrong. I'm so
No, you're
worried
so
about
no.
it.
That's my name. That's my name. But what was it that you said before that?
Would you seek out more of their stuff? Like if they so because I don't never heard of them before. I don't know if they're big, but
Yeah, I want to keep listening to them. Like I am absolutely a bit gobsmacked.
yeah. And it's a very short album.
Yeah.
That's really my only ding against it, is there's not enough of it.
Yeah.
And from my research, it says like this is actually really good. This album's a good entry point for new fans.
For this particular genre or this particular band?
This particular band.
Yeah, cool.
But I did wear my Japanese. Actually, no, I ruined it. I was gonna say, where do you think I brought this t-shirt?
I'm gonna guess
Japan.
No, actually Hawaii. That's the gag because everyone always thinks that. But I got from Japan, I got Endless Summer Converse, which are Hawaii. Like that's a film made in Hawaii. So I went to Japan, got Hawaiian shoes, went to Hawaii and got a Japanese t-shirt.
Awesome.
But I absolutely love Japan. I love Japanese culture. And I think that very much translates into this, like that. It's a sense of inhibition, I guess, in their art that they have that we don't have over here and they don't have in America. Because I don't know, I guess it's always the dollar that comes first. I don't know if you've ever been there.
I've never been. I'm really wanting to get there.
It's so good. It is just beautiful people and a beautiful country. The only problem is it's stinking hot. Oh my God, it was stinking
That's
hot.
not a problem for me. I'd be into it.
Yeah, no, I was like, oh, Godfathers.
You'd like it here then.
I would.
Yeah, it was probably worse in Vietnam, though. I will say that. But anyways, notice about this band, Unlucky Morpheus, which, yeah, no, I would give them probably this album about a 3.5, 4 stars. I think it needed a bit more, and I know they're a Japanese band, but yeah, there was a bit lost in the translation there in terms of what's going on here. So, but in terms of the music, amazing.
Wait, the bass riffs alone are worth the listen.
I also think the production, like, I don't listen to a lot of heavy metal, so I don't know what it's usually like, but I thought like the way that they produced it with the orchestral and then the way that like the instrumentation of like those really distorted guitar sound, like I thought it was really blended beautifully.
It is very similar to this, especially this sort of symphonic fantasy, like riding a dragon. But I think, yeah, that their culture does very much come through in this, and that's one thing that I really loved about it myself. What it's about, we just won't know, but
The torment of life.
I know, right? But that's every week. It's usually rah, 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 and we can't tell what they're talking about, but the lyrics are there.
Totally.
Here, the lyrics were there, but they were in Japanese.
I think that's a cool thing about music is like, in some ways it's easy in English because then you know, whereas like if you don't know what it means, like then you have to let the music and it invites
The emotion, yeah.
And I think that there's actually a cool freedom in that of like, it can still affect you.
That's like opera.
Yeah, exactly. I would give it 5 stars. Like I can't fault it, you know?
Yeah. I would have liked it a little bit longer, I think.
Yeah, that's the only thing that keeping me from doing full 5 stars is just that it's almost practically an EP.
Yeah. What I was saying in terms of the clarity of the Japanese album, which is funny because I actually watched a little movie called The Color of Darkness last night.
Oh my God, that's a throwback. I haven't even thought about that.
Well, I watched it without subtitles, and like those scenes set in India, which weren't in English, which I'm guessing were about the sort of the class issues that the English language scenes set in Melbourne were about. It didn't exactly require subtitles because it was all told. It was told through camera work. It was told through acting. It was also changed in a style of filmmaking as well. It was all told. So I didn't need the subtitles, as opposed to trying to judge an album and review an album was a little bit harder. I think that's where possibly the disconnect was. It's like listening to an opera. I have no clue what they're talking about, but I feel the heartbreak when she feels that heartbreak, and I feel the fighting when the two of them are going at each other with swords, even though I don't know if they got swords or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's all there. I think that's probably where the disconnect was, but no, there maybe a little bit more grah maybe needed. Maybe
Vocal fry.
such an oxymoron thing for me to say. But anyways, oh no, I haven't written a segue. Oh, it looks like Unlucky Morpheus is now lucky, I guess. And we'll be back after this.
Hello there, my name is Caroline Sheen, and I've just started an exciting new podcast called Talk Musicals to Me, where I'll be sitting down with some of the biggest names and industry players in musical theatre, including Olivier and Tony Award winners, West End and Broadway icons, and celebrated composers, as they discuss the musicals that have resonated most with them, both professionally and personally, sharing their most cherished musical memories. Join me on this journey through the fantastic musical theatre world and the people who inhabit it. And here is an exclusive sneak peek. Our guest today is the incredible Adam Gettle, Tony Award-winning composer-lyricist of wonderful musicals, The Light in the Piazza, Floyd Collins, Myths and Hymns, and last year, Days of Wine and Roses. I had the absolute pleasure to work with Adam on The Light in the Piazza when it had its European premiere in Leicester Curve back in 2009, I think. And it is an absolute joy and honour to have you here. Hello, Adam.
Hello, my dear. What fun, and thanks for having me.
I'm absolutely thrilled. And we are going to crack on with the next few questions, Adam, if that's okay.
Wonderful.
Which musical do you think should be compulsory in schools for kids to take part in, and in whatever capacity, not necessarily on stage?
I would avoid anything compulsory when it comes to the art form that you and I love, because that's a sure way to at least postpone a person's loving it, you know.
That's true. That's true.
I think the thing that I would want young people to take away from participating in a musical when they're young or having seen one is when a musical is good, it's a good musical to begin with. And then when it's lifted up onto the stage, well, it can give you a feeling you don't get from anything else. It's something to do with the sort of deeply sort of profound molecular sort of changes that happen. There's something gets pushed around inside of us and reconfigured with a great score and a great book, you know, and decent direction that takes us through a story in that way where we can ensconce ourselves completely and take the proscenium and sort of pull it around our heads and live in the story. To me, that's what we want them to take away with them, that such a thing is possible. Of course, it's also possible with movies in a slightly different way. But to cite a specific show, I mean, I would want the score to be a really exciting score for whatever young person. And if it's Hamilton, that's great, you know. Also, you know, and my shows generally don't always fall into this because sometimes they're a bit too sort of involved in terms of the vocal lines and stuff. But, you know, I want people to, especially young people, have silver in their pocket when they leave a theater or they leave the experience. They have melodies jangling around, lines that have always struck them very personally that they've kept with them, you know, like in a locket, you know.
This will lead on to this next question, actually. My husband actually remembers you talking about silver in your pocket. He went, I wonder if he'll say that, because it was such a great thing to say. And it's actually really useful for the next question, because is there a musical that you feel you walked out of with the most silver in your pocket, feeling changed or altered? Or did you feel like you'd live your life in a slightly different way after seeing it, you know?
Oh, well, certainly Sweeney Todd. And I was 14, so I was already like nearly analyzing stuff. And the silver I had was not just that momentous and unforgettable score, but also the milieu, the vocabulary physically that Hal came up with his wonderful designer, but also just the way that the form was using music to really delineate character and push the story forward. So that would be a huge one. But well before that, Turn of the Screw by Britten really moved by. I was in that, and it's hard for me to choose, what's the most silver in the pocket. But I have so much from Fiddler and so much from West Side and shows that are less known. I just we just carried around. We have our sort of unnamed kind of tacit Rolodex, in our minds and in our hearts, and also the ache in our heart and in our throat to do well in the form, to use it at that level, to get to that level with it, and that's also a kind of it's an energy cell.
Yeah, you talk about Fiddler there. I think that the opening number of that show is utterly brilliant. And the way it introduces character, culture, religion, tradition.
Absolutely, 100%. And even before the opening number, I think it's Joe Stein. Is that who?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
But anyway, the very first monologue, which begins the show before the number.
Yes.
It's one of the best things ever written in the theater because it perfectly lifts the story up for us to participate in. It's a fabulous sort of spiritual roadmap as well as narrative.
I love that. So the silver in your pocket coming out, especially with ticket prices these days. If you come out with something that you've learned along the way, some kind of bonus.
You gotta come out with something.
Exactly.
We're back with Thrash and Treasure. I'm Aaron. That's one of the Daves you know, and we're joined by upcoming Australian actor, singer, dancer, composer, and lyricist Vidya Makan, which I might have said Markin in the introduction. I'm so sorry about that. It is the introduction, and I don't really care, to be honest. I'm just lucky to survive. Where are we? Here we are. Now, if performing arts had an Olympics for amateur artists, which events would you want to watch people competing at, and what discipline would you compete at to win gold?
Zip Zap, like Zip Zap Zop. And Bang. When I was doing 6, we would play Bang.
Oh, yeah, that's right. When you go around in a circle, I have to go.
Yeah, there's that one. Yeah. And then there's Bang. No, I think it's Zip. Yeah, that already is an Olympic sport at any musical at their warm-up. Yeah. And it's competitive. So, yeah.
And they don't do group warm-ups in America.
Yes, actually, I heard this.
Yes, they do.
Well, you might, Dave, but other guests on Broadway, they do not.
On Broadway, no.
Oh, yeah. My current director is very into them because he's a very college type. And so he's head of a university department. He loves the actor exercises and warm-ups. And
love it.
Yeah, just got to keep up with them.
Yeah, it's a group job. Warm up together, people. Warm up together. It doesn't hurt you to share 10 minutes with your castmates singing together.
I get both sides. It is a job, right?
Yeah, I know.
When you do it professionally, it's a job, and 8 times a week, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And sometimes it is, you just want to be in your own zone. So I can see the value of what it's like in America, but I can also see the value. I think there's absolute positives to both.
Yeah, I'm not judging. I'm not a performer anymore. I'm only a writer. So, and what would you compete at? And win gold? What's your biggest strength in this industry?
I don't know, but we used to play Wolverine, Wolf. No, what's it called?
No, what's the time, Mr. Wolf?
No.
God, that's so old.
The one where there's one murderer in the village. What's it called?
Werewolf. Yes.
We used to play Werewolf a lot, and I reckon I'd have a go at that. I'd have a go at competing in the Olympic version of Werewolf.
What would yours be, David?
One of the few things I would win gold at is I'm very good at trivia.
Okay, it's not really arts, but we'll allow it.
Well,
Your first episode.
In arts, I'm just really good at memorizing my lines.
That's awesome.
Well, it's because of an anxiety disorder.
Well, every actor has anxiety. That's the key to learning lines, apparently.
I'm anxious about this. Better work on my lines. I walk my kids to school and I have them in my ear, listening and learning my lines.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, Dave, next question. We'll move it on to the musical.
When was the last time you had a real world musical moment where you were all up in your feelings and you just gotta sing?
When I was a kid, I used to think that was how the world worked because I was so obsessed with musicals. And so I used to do that in my everyday.
It is how the world works. Thank you very much. But
I actually reckon it's probably not the most recent because it's not coming to mind. But when I booked Hamilton was like that.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
When I got the phone call saying I got the job.
You opened the balcony doors and you sang it.
Totally. I mean, I was bawling my eyes out too. But that was probably it.
Oh, wonderful.
You just want to do a full musical number the minute you got the news.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, life is like that. Life is a musical, and when this is why people break out into pop songs. It's just that they're singing
Totally.
the songs that they love, but they don't realize that what they're doing is conveying their emotions at the time.
Being in a musical.
Being in a musical. That many times I'm on a bus or a train alone, and all I want to do is just sing out loud and dance.
I had my moment today when one of my sons was feeling sick and he held me when I took care of him and he said, "You're the best dad ever." And I wanted to burst into
Aw,
song.
that's so beautiful.
Complete opposite of how he was talking to me yesterday. So it was great.
That's a different song.
Yes, tell me about it. Hey, look, my kid, the 15-year-old, my nephew that I raised, he only got a Funko Pop last night because he cooked me dinner, whereas the night before he wasn't going to get it because of how he was talking to my dad. So I know exactly what it is. Like literally 24 hours later, it's completely different. But anyways, I'm going to get into this because I reviewed The Lucky Country this week, which you have written and composed. So you can opt out if you want me to not read this.
No, go for it. I'm interested.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is a safe space for artists because I am a playwright myself. So I'm missing a page though. Oh my God. No, I'm missing 2 pages. No, I'm not. Oh my God. I'm sorry. This is totally not my day or my week this week. What did I only write? Oh, I don't know. Look, you know what? I'm going to get into it and we'll work it out. When choosing to enter The Lucky Country by Spotify, it was with slight hesitations. Not because it's new, but because of my medical condition, foot and mouth, preventing me from not embarrassing myself. But we persisted and I was actually surprised by the opening track because the over-the-top Aussie accent didn't annoy me, perhaps giving the lyrical depth and composition being a bop. I didn't feel bopped on the head by boganisms. It's solidly performed, so it compensates. The next song, set up as a school classroom song, was cute, but I did find myself disagreeing with the lyrics. Australia isn't really the land of milk and honey, that's Israel. We're the land of plenty, witchetty grubs and spiders. Milk and honey makes us sound inviting and every foreigner knows this land will kill you. See track 10. But lyrical discrepancies aside, I'm finding each track not only fully draws these anthological characters, but quickly and concisely conveys their hopes, dreams, and emotional state, even if the overall narrative doesn't read through this recording. The fact is, it doesn't matter. Each song stands out on its own merit, apart from Times Are Hard as Ever, which I feel should be slowed down to convey that fragility which Carlos Zaid, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, isn't able to fully achieve at this pace. He almost reaches it, but maybe something is lost being a studio album and not live. However, I would love to hear it slowed down. Let the actor breathe. No, remember. Highlights include Making My Way to Byron Bay, and I don't know where the next page is. Oh, here we are. A New Day, Hugh Jackman, and I Could Kill Ya, which is perhaps the hit pop song from this album. And how do we get it on the charts? To boost this small musical bursting with charm, emotion, and meaty character moments, even if I do love footy and beer and wouldn't date either of those two. Also, they're clearly happy and don't need my judgments. As for this musical, well, it doesn't need my judgments either, but here I am and I'm lucky to be here getting to witness firsthand Aussie theatre is not just in capable hands, but thoughtful and tender hands and minds as the company rises. 4.5 stars. So it loses a little bit for the Aussie accent because that's a big irritation of mine. And the narrative wasn't exactly there in the album, which I'm sure is in the live production, but we are judging the branding of the album here and what you're selling us. And what you have created is an Australian musical. It's not just a musical, it's an Australian musical. This sounds like an Australian musical. This should be our starting off point. From here on, all composers in Australia work on what is our sound. And I think you may have found it.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
And it made me so incredibly proud. Because if you listen to my episodes with Pippa Granderson, whoever else we've had on, I can't even think. I could name drop till the cows come home, I promise you that. But I keep bringing this up. What is our sound? What is our Australian sound? And it's actually a question on here for you. But I'm bringing it up now because that's what you have created. There are songs on here that I Could Kill Ya. Please change a couple of lyrics, get that recorded as a song, as a pop song, get that out there in the charts and sell this. And when I say change lyrics, I don't mean like you need to change the whole thing. I just mean like in terms of when a song gets put on the radio, when it becomes a single, there's typically no real strong connection to the show. It's in like Memory. Like there's no lyrics about cats. It doesn't talk about cats in any way. It doesn't really talk about the heavy side layer or anything like that. It is is able to be removed from the show, but still fits within the show because it is that emotional moment for Grisabella. So that's all I'm meaning in terms of tweaking a couple of lyrics here and there, not necessarily changing them, just separate like for the single version, not for the show is what I'm saying there. When was the last time you heard a musical song on the radio?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
And what did they do then? Those songs were on the radio? They sold the show because people had to go and see Memory being sung. They had to go see on the street where you live where they sung, which is exact two examples I gave the other day. But even Don't Cry For Me Argentina was a hit on the radio. That song has the potential. I think that and the first song, It's a New Day, those two could be easily turned into pop songs that will sell this show and get it out there. And they sound like Australian songs. Yep. No, I think this is an incredible debut. I'm guessing it's your debut musical. And as I say, like we're on this path of trying to find what is our sound of an Australian musical. Can you pick it? If you were to line up our musicals, could you say this is the sound of an Australian musical?
No, and I think that that's the point of our show is that every single song is like a completely different genre, all of which are inherently Australian. And sometimes they clash up, like sometimes they should feel uncomfortable. It's interesting. Can I say one thing? You talked about the opening where you're like, I disagree with so many of those lyrics.
Land of Milk and Honey.
Yeah. That's the point, is that we set it up as this thing that you go, what? And then you listen and it's layers, and then we finish with the violence of this place and rise.
Yes.
And, you know what I mean? So it's actually that uncomfortability. I always get to end of act one of a musical, always. And I'm like, oh, I hate this show. And then I get to the end, I'm like, I love this show because it's about what you set up and then the conceit of that. So I was so happy when you said, I didn't like those lyrics. I'm like, great, we did our job.
Yeah, although I disagreed with them being factual, if anything, but you've explained the context now. So.
But exactly. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. Like if you disagree, perfect.
Yes.
Because that is a narrative of Australia. But thank you. That's really wonderful review.
Yeah, no, I think you should be incredibly proud, and I hope this finds an audience. It's so hard these days for musicals. I mean, a broader audience outside of our country, and the way to do that is get those two songs. And I'm not telling you what to do with your career or your musical. I'm not.
No, look, I agree. And if you have a way in, I'm happy to take it.
Yeah, that's what we need here in Australia, is to go back to that. I
tell you what, though, there's some amazing Australian musicals that are making their way, like Fangirls, The Lovers, anything by Laura Murphy, Brittany Shipway's writing some stuff. We have this new up-and-coming generation of a lot of the actual female artists paving the way, which I'm proud to get to be a part of. I think that we're about to see some really cool things come out of our nation.
Good, and it's about time. And hopefully some Indigenous characters in the lead.
Absolutely.
It's like a whole world of musicals I want to be opened up to here. I've only dipped my toe in musicals, even from my home country, and so there's a whole narrative here missed out on that I'd love to experience.
Our history in Australia is so scattered with musicals, and especially on an international level in terms of what's made it overseas. And it's been like maybe 2 original musicals, and the rest have been jukebox musicals that originated here. And it's not good. It's sad because we are talented. We've got some of the best musicians in the world.
Absolutely.
We've got some of the best actors in the world. We've got some of the best filmmakers and the best talents in the world. Look,
talking to one of them right now.
That we have the talent here, but for some reason our musicals have just fallen by the wayside. And like I said, I feel like we are in safe, thoughtful and tender hands because, as I say, you created an Australian musical. You didn't just create a musical that sounds good. You didn't just create good songs. You didn't just create good characters. You created an Australian musical. That's so incredibly important at this point in the game because it's freaking 100 years later from musical theatre's inception. Sorry, I'm talking lots. I was very excited by this. I really was.
No, I'm with you. Thank you.
I'm on board, and I'm not even from there.
Yeah. I've seen one Australian musical, and that was Venetian Twins.
Okay, I've not heard of it.
The music in it is all Australian standards.
Oh, okay.
Old folk songs. But you are headlining an amazing cast.
We have an incredible lineup.
Phoenix Jackson Mendoza and Carlos Zaid, as we mentioned in the review earlier, who I also saw as Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar in like 1997, a long time ago. So shout out to Carlos for that performance, which has stuck with me for my whole entire life. Oh, well, not really, because I was 12, but most of my life. Anyways, for most of my entire theatrical wife. Let's just say that. I'm guessing a lot of this was your story as well, and sort of friends, or
Actually, no. Like
No?
the first version was very much like my sense of like wanting to feel belonging here. And then when I started rewriting it with my collaborator Sonia, she was like, "You're writing a show about one of the biggest things you can talk about, which is what it is to be a nation, and that's huge. It's so much bigger than you." And so actually, we've really tried to extend the score and the characters. We moved it from 4 people out to 6. And so yeah, it's not my story at all, really. It's I did a lot of research and really tried to get into the specificities of the different demographics and the different characters that we tell.
So it feels so personal.
Well, that's good writing.
Yeah.
May I dare say.
No, that's fine. You're on this show.
It's personal because it's my why is so strong. You know, I feel very passionately.
You're absolutely right. Look, the number one ingredient for a good musical is a good book, a strong foundation, and a good book. You have to have characters that well, I don't agree that we have to relate to them.
But we have to like them in some sort of way.
We have to at least want to spend that time with them.
Yes.
Be intrigued by them, I think, more so than anything, because I think if we need to like characters, then we're going to write off some of the most deliciously evil characters in history of, film and TV and theater. So
That's been a real problem with like modern discourse for all media, which is like, oh, you know who was actually a terrible person? This person who was written to be a terrible person.
yes, it's like, well, of course they were.
It's like, you know what's really messed up? I'm like, yeah, they gave him the lines because he was the wrong guy. Like, that's everything he says is supposed to be wrong.
It just, in terms of that war song, sorry to quickly move it along. In terms of that war song, I just felt like it was a little bit too fast on the album.
Sure.
And so we're telling this real fragile story where it felt like he was trying to remember, or he was remembering things as they're going along because of the pacing of it. Yeah, I just think if you let Carlos breathe and emotionally grab that pace, it's sort of one criticism. I'm so sorry. You can tell me to fuck off all you like and all that, and you don't have to listen. Please don't listen to any of my critique. But yeah, that's just what I thought. And
that's a fair thought. Yeah, no.
But that's the thing I've noticed from theatre, that a lot of times you'll listen to a CD and a song will be a certain pace, and then you go see it live and it's just so quick, and it just flies by. All these songs that maybe 5 minutes on the CD are gone in 3.5 minutes. And it's just so much faster than what it is. So, but yes, so this will be opening in Melbourne first.
Yes, Melbourne first on the 13th of October. We're running to the 18th. And then in Brisbane, we actually are starting to sell out. So we've had to add 2 shows, maybe a third, from the 22nd to the 26th of October. Get in quick because... Yeah, we're really thrilled with how the perception has been, but we've still got a way to go. So please come and support our independent show about something that any person would relate to in some way.
And let's get one of these songs, at least the first one or the It Will Kill You. Because you know that I Will Kill You, sorry. You know that will be a hit for Australians because it's all about how fully sick we are.
I agree.
In terms of being deadly.
Totally.
In both terms of the context. So deadly means good in terms of our Indigenous populations, Dave. So if they say like you're deadly, it means you're great. Or deadly is in our animals and our weather and our terrain and literally everything else.
Oh yeah, Australia is terrifying. Just theoretically.
But then you look at, we don't have mountain lions here and we don't have grizzly bears. So
We do.
I don't get it. But anyways, where's my segue? G'day listeners, Aaron here. While we've been off on hiatus, I haven't actually been taking a break. I've released a new book lately, so I thought I should probably plug it in this commercial break. So if you yourself or anyone you know is a budding artist or just likes to doodle when they're on the phone, I've actually released a book that's filled with 150 drawing activities, but also it has 150 drawing challenges to go along with it. So there's 160 pages and 300 drawing challenges all up. So it's just a fun little book that I decided to put together and put online for people to buy. And it's been tested out, and the people who tested it out said it was lots of fun. So if you're listening to this and want to help support our network, please go to www.thetonistantales.com/bookstore. Now, if you look at the link below, you'll see a link to that, and you can use the code TNT20 to get 20% off. So that's pretty awesome. So I'd really appreciate it if you could help our network stay afloat and buy my latest book, which I haven't even mentioned the name. It is called Art for My Sake, and it is all about drawing and doodling and being challenged along the way. So, yes, anyways, back to the episode. And we're back with Thrash and Treasure. I'm Aaron. That's our new kid, Dave, all the way from New Mexico. And we are joined by the lucky country composer, lyricist, and star, Vidya Makan. Now, we are running out of time a little bit. We've got a few questions we're going to quickly race through in about 5 minutes on the clock. So I apologize if this is very quick and there's no follow-ups. Firstly, what's one thing you are terrible at that everyone else does perfectly well?
Not bumping into things. I
Yeah.
bump into things all the time. I'm very clumsy.
Yeah. Dave, you're up.
What's one movie you hope never becomes a musical?
Oh, that is a really hard question. I always just look at stuff and go, this would make a cool musical. I don't think I've ever looked at something and gone, please don't make it into a musical. So I don't know if I even have an answer for that. Maybe Love Actually.
Oh, please no.
Maybe that.
Oh, God, no. Oh, no.
You got a real soft spot for that.
But then, of course, like, there's a way I'm like, I'd love to write it and make it cute. So I don't know. I think anything. I love musicals so much. I think anything could make a great musical if it was done right.
Yeah, there's going to be a sequel to that that's about mansplaining, and it's called Well, Actually.
What's one musical you've been in that you'd love to revisit that character in a sequel?
Hamilton.
Yeah.
I would love to tell, like, the finale goes through like 50 years worth of life in about 3 minutes. I'd love to tell that story. Or actually the same with 6, Catherine Parr. Like, in the last number, same deal. Like, the rest of her life, she did so much cool stuff. So either of those characters.
Wow. What's been your experience with standing ovations
Oh,
as a performer and now your perspective as a creative?
Look, they're always amazing and you never expect them. I think what's really cool about Australia, and I talked about my US castmates about this, was in the US, often it's just a thing. Like, if you go see Hamilton, you stand up. Whereas here, people don't do that. You have to really, really earn it.
Yes.
And so when it happens, you really feel like, whoa, like there's a vibe in the house that's amazing. They always feel amazing, but gosh, there's nothing like our first season of The Lucky Country back in 2023. There is nothing in this world. I've felt what it feels like to sing in front of thousands of people, roaring, band behind you, people cheering, but even that is nothing in comparison to watching something that you write that makes people laugh, that makes people sob, that makes people feel, and that feeling of them standing at the end is like, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
It's magic.
The next one, Dave.
So Green Day's American Idiot was a formative album for me. You can trace for me all the way into my goth phase as a teenager.
It's terrible.
And
I saw photos.
oh, it's bad.
It's terrible.
My love of heavy metal has its roots in enjoying that album. What was it like performing a show like that as opposed to a standard musical?
Yeah, was there any technique that you sort of had to apply?
Look, it was actually one of my first shows, and I've always been I've never really been in a standard musical. The most standard musical I was in Hamilton, which is a hip hop musical.
Merrily.
Oh yeah, I guess Merrily, but even that breaks the form.
With Lyle Brooks.
That's true. I don't know. I think I don't see musical theatre as a genre. I see it as like an appropriation of lots of different genres. So every show you do is a different genre, and I think
More like a medium.
Yeah, it's a medium, right? So like American Idiot, you have to do your research, and I was also obsessed with American Idiot growing up. Like, so you do your research, and then that becomes the word of the show, and then you do something like Sunday in the Park with George, and you research the music of the turn of the century and like French romantic classical like art music. Like that's that world, and then like every world is its own. So I don't see the fact that it's a rock musical any different to Hamilton being a hip hop musical, Sunday in the Park with George being like set in France at the turn of the 20th century. So to me, that's just the job of any musical theatre artist, and a good one.
Yeah, because not everyone can go from doing a Green Day musical to, that. What's been the funniest / most embarrassing moment corpsing on stage?
Oh God. Maybe at the end of Hamilton once. Akina and I, who play Angelica and Eliza, were backstage when he's died, and it's this silent moment. And I'm very well behaved, but often like with a show like that, you have to have fun backstage, or else you'll just die. Like you won't be able to get through the week and won't be able to get through the show. I also need to finish the show with joy. I can't take on the emotional weight. I have to as Eliza. So anyway, we'd be looking at each other in the wings before going out. And there was one time she had this balloon and she blew up this balloon. Akina Peanut, I'm sorry for sharing this with the world, but she's the best. She blew up this balloon. I was just laughing, but then didn't realize like what's she going to do with the balloon, like to let the air out, it's going to make noise or like, so then she slowly, it was so funny. Luckily no one heard, but like coming out and looking at each other going, Jellica Eliza were by his side as he died. And then it's like this beautiful moment and it's just the two of us out there looking at each other and trying to hold in that laughter, and your body moving like this was, I think we were okay, but that was definitely the closest I've gotten to fully corpsing on a very inappropriate moment.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Goodness me.
It's hard to hold it together sometimes.
Yeah. Anyways, last question.
If you could quarantine with any Disney villain, who would it be?
That's a great question. Ursula.
Good answer.
Yes.
She'd have a bunch of different potions. It'd be a fun time.
Yes, we have Ursula.
You get that drag queen energy.
Absolutely.
Yes. Bit sneaky, that one. But yes, anyways, we made it. Thank you so much. It's been such a thrill.
Thank you for having me, guys. I really love the chat.
Yes, I'm so excited for your career and seeing where it
Thank
goes
you.
and this musical. And please, please, please get one of these songs on the radio.
We are doing everything we can. And if anyone out there is like, I've got to hook up to get this song on the radio, get in touch with me, because it's something that is a dream.
Oh man, this was so exciting.
Yes.
Awesome.
Do it, please. Because it has been too long. And they sell tickets. A hit song sells tickets because people need to hear that hit song. They'll buy that ticket just to see that hit song, and then they need it at the encore again. But anyways, a huge thank you to Vidya for joining us. I am praying that I don't sound too bad because my head was spinning awfully during that recording, but she was a wonderful guest, and it was just so satisfying to hear this musical and how it is conveying the Australian sound, which we keep going on about on this show. So I have all the love, respect, and hopes for Vidya and this musical to break out, especially with that song, which in the meantime, in the past month, if you go on YouTube and type in I Could Kill Ya, okay, perhaps you might get a few odd results from that one. So maybe I Could Kill Ya, Lucky Country, and you will find that there is actually now a music video for that song. I am so excited. Anyway, so the Lucky Country will be playing in Melbourne and Brisbane in the next few weeks. So from the 13th to the 18th of October at the Lawler Theatre, it's South Bank. You can look below for tickets there if you're in Melbourne, and also from the 22nd to the 26th of October at the Underground Theatre, the Brisbane Powerhouse, as part of the Melt Festival. So the Melbourne run is part of the Melbourne Fringe Festival. The Brisbane run is part of the Melt Festival. Anyway, so you can find the details for tickets below in the description on whatever platform you are using. Hopefully it is a clickable link. It is set up to be a clickable link. I just don't know because I only really use a couple of apps to check on the episodes. Anyways, so if you're in Melbourne, you can also see a production of one of my favorite musicals ever. Oh my God, Hair is coming back to Melbourne, and that will be running through late October and November. And so check below for the tickets to that as well. A special thank you to Mary at Tatia Stoli Publicity. I hope I said that correctly. I'm so sorry. It is an absolute joy to finally be able to work with your firm and produce one of our crazy little episodes. So anyways, a huge thank you. Like, you wouldn't believe, to Dave, our brand new co-host, who was actually, I promised him like 5 times, your first episode will be a recording with a past guest. So it's someone that we know, so he would feel safe and comfortable, because he's, obviously everyone gets nervous. And 2 days or a day and a half before this recording, I knew that my hay fever was just not going to hold up. It was just not going to back off, and yes, as he verified at the start, it was not good. It was really not good. So I'm so thankful to Dave and his family as well. Shout out to them for allowing him to suddenly step up to the plate at a time when I really needed it. I was happy to do it solo, like I do a lot of episodes solo. This time I thought, no, let's not risk it. So thank you to Dave. Welcome to the show. Very excited to have you join us. Chukas for your play. If you're in New Mexico, again, the town. So if you're in Las Cruces, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, you can go and see Dave in Beyond Therapy. I'm going to put the details for that below in the description as well, because at the moment I'm actually running out of time. This episode is a couple of minutes late, and I'm very tired and have jet lag now from editing for days on end, as I always do. Anyways, so listen to our shows. We got Around the World in 80 plays Talk Musicals to Me with Caroline Sheen. This one, obviously, and the You Got Goes to. And soon we have a new show coming out, which we are actually going to preview in our next episode where Dave returns. And guess what? So does a guest, because there we go. The return guest that was meant to be Dave's first recording will actually be next week. Things happen. Life. Hay fever. Goodness gracious me. Anyways, that's it from us. You take care, look after yourselves and each other. Thank you for listening, and we shall see you next time. Hooroo!
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you, Vidya. This was wonderful.
And don't that make us a pair of lucky car passengers with this driven leader at the wheel? Oh, sorry, I need to catch my breath. Goodness gracious me, that rap. Oh, my God.